Everyone knows the game of Flappy Bird, which is equally fun and infuriating. But since I'm bored again, I built it physically. The game of Flappy Bird only has two motions, the beams and the bird. The beams infinitely move towards the bird and have different areas where there are gaps for the bird to fly through. Building the beams with gaps is easy enough, but to make the beams continuously cycle, I used a conveyor belt so the beams will move in a circle. To ensure the beams are stable, I added a second belt on the bottom, and to power these belts, I used a total of 3 motors to power the belts through 2 sprockets on the back. Controlling the beams is very easy. I began with finding the score of the player by adding 1 to the score variable every time the distance sensor detects a close object, like when the beam passes in front of it as you see here. Once the score reaches a multiple of 6, the level increases by 1. Each level the player progresses through, the velocity of the beams increases by 5%, but caps at 40. This way, the beams don't cycle too fast to the point where it's impossible. The next step is to build the bird. The bird stays in the same place but moves up and down. However, this motion isn't linear, rather quadratic, as you can see the bird drop faster over time. To account for this, I wrote this equation, where the time since pressed variable is the time since the last time the button was pressed by the player. This equation means when the player presses the button, the time since pressed variable equals 0, so the velocity of the bird is 100, moving the bird upward very quickly. But as the time since pressed variable grows over time, the velocity quickly decreases, leading the bird to fall downwards faster and faster. I also didn't want players to simply hold down the button to quickly move the bird upwards linearly, as that isn't how the Flappy Bird game works. So I added some code to ensure to press the button, you must first release it then press it. Otherwise, it will not count as a valid press. Finally, when the touch sensor on the bird is pressed, representing the bird hitting the wall on the beam, a dead variable is set to 1, making all of the loops in the code stop, reset all of the variables, and revert back to the start screen. I will be sharing this code on my GitHub, which is where I post all of my other codes for all of my past projects, such as my Swerve Drive, X Drive, and Zero Motor Drivetrain, and my GitHub will be linked in the description down below. If this video gets 1,000 views, I'll also share some building instructions as well. Now that we have all the explanations finished, we can have my sister playtest it. Okay, so my physical Flappy Bird ended up being as addictive and infuriating as the actual one, and my sister ended up trying to get to level 10 for like an hour. This was one of the projects I most enjoyed making, and I'll post similar projects in the future. But until then, thanks for watching and please subscribe.